I hate situations like this where rappers are fighting with producers and sample clearance is causing problems. I got tweeted saying that Ren wanted to talk to me and is looking to meet me, and I don't know what this is even about because Ren doesn't say my name once. He doesn't know who I am. Now the story's just blown up. So if you're unaware of the situation, I was unaware of everyone involved because either I live under a rock or also there are, thousands of successful artists out there that have millions of fans, but that none of us have heard of just because we're not exposed to them. So this is one of them. Ren is a rapper, and honestly the story is making my head spin because there's just so much, and I feel like there are a lot of bits of information missing from this whole conversation. So to me, in a nutshell, it sounds like a producer by the name of Kujo Beats licensed on an unlimited basis a beat to Ren. The beat contained an uncleared sample that I guess wasn't disclosed to the artist. The artist releases the song. The owners of the sample contact Ren, the rapper's lawyer, unbeknownst to him. And as this is all happening, the producer Kujo is not getting royalties on the underlying composition side, and so he gets upset. Someone gets the music video taken down, and then after that, everything just goes to shit. The music business is very simple in theory, but it can be complicated in practice, especially when you have people experiencing conflicts and music business concerns that they've never experienced before. Now, what I want to add is my perspective on this to hopefully show different options so that you can avoid situations such as this one, because it seems like initially Ren was seeking a resolution and now he's seeking revenge. He released a diss track against the producer. Let's just jump into the video because I just want to respond directly to what's in the video. But I want to start off here at the end, because the situation is incredibly ugly. I don't find any of this funny, but especially not this part. And this is the part where Ren makes a statement that he is not encouraging his fans to harass Kujo. I just want to get this one thing clear and let you know where I stand on this.
Even though I am very annoyed about the situation, I don't want anyone to send them abuse. I don't. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'm annoyed about the situation, but it's done now.
I've seen a lot of Ren fans commenting on how this song that got taken down helped them through periods of mental health crisis, right? Ren speaks on that too. I've also seen this situation play out with others. For example, Hopsin versus Dame. I know Dame. Years after Hopsin damaged Dame's reputation by recording songs about him, spreading misinformation about him, going on media runs to speak on the split of the Funk Volume album, I just got a comment this morning from some dumbass that has nothing better to do than just relitigate some shit that some strangers went through years ago. But after all of that went down, after all the damage to Dame's reputation was done, Dame and Hopsin sit down for a conversation in which Hopsin reveals that he in fact made a lot of that shit up.
I had a lot of toxic behavior, and not only that, I couldn't pinpoint what was causing those toxic behaviors.
It's not gonna end well.
Yeah, no, and it didn't end well for me. Right. Even at, like it didn't end well. So you're absolutely right.
And as a result, for I think over a decade, Dame's been getting harassed. When I see Ren say, I'm not telling anyone to harass or abuse the guy, come on, man, you have millions of fans. This is not a situation that's over. This is an ongoing situation. You just released a diss track about Kujo Beats. And I'm gonna talk all about what Kujo Beats did wrong from my perspective. But look at this. Let's be honest. This is Kujo Beats' profile. He has 3,000 subscribers. Every single comment here, every single comment is from a Ren fan. Every single comment. We go to his community post from 4 years ago. Every single comment is from a Ren fan harassing him. So if you're part of this harassment campaign and you really feel like you're helping the situation and you're some mental health advocate, you know what? I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't have anything else to say.
Very early on, I wake up to a message saying, yo, your song Sickboi has been taken down. So I look at it, and sure enough, it's been copyright striked from this guy Kujo Beats' channel. And initially I'm like, oh, this just must be some automatic fuck up. So like, I don't take it too seriously. I send him a message like, yo, there must have been a technical error or something here. No response for 2 days. So I'm like,
okay, what am I always saying, producers? Be responsive, reach out to people I've been in the situation, I've been in many situations where I've reacted first rather than simply just having a dialogue, having communication, and reaching a resolution. And I think that's at the heart of this whole thing. So if you're a producer, seriously, please be responsive, be honest, be upfront about everything, and communicate.
And then I see a comment of that beat that he licensed me, and I see a comment that's like, Ren has left me no choice. I'm sorry that I had to do this. And I'm like, okay, so this was intentional. Like, what? Like, the last conversation I had with this guy was months ago with him being like, yo, big up your work, it's sick.
But there's a reason for this.
Super confused about it. So I send him another email like, dude, what's going on? Again, I get absolutely no response. So I put a comment on his YouTube comment section, and I'm like, bro, I'm trying to get hold of you. Why are you ignoring me? Like, I just want to resolve this amicably. What's going on? Finally, I get a response on Instagram. But then after that little exchange, I notice a comment in the YouTube comment section on his video saying that I'm lying about the situation, when I thought that we like on the same page here. So I pull him up on it, and he's like, oh no, I didn't say you were lying, when he clearly did. That should have been like the first red flag for me, but still give him the benefit of the doubt.
That is a
like,
red
okay,
flag,
maybe.
it is.
So I contact my lawyer to find out what the hell's happening, because I'm in the dark about all of this situation. And he explains to me that I've been sold a beat with a stolen sample, with an unlicensed sample, and that the Bulgarian choir sample owners had chased him and gone, look, you've used this beat without permission, you've used this sample without permission, and so you need to give us 50% of the publishing split.
This is where everything just gets crazy. Now, I understand that the fans are more worried about the conflict because the conflict is a sexier conversation. They're worried about when the song's going to drop because they want the song. I'm talking to the music business people, the producers, the rappers out there who are actually in the music business. This part is absolutely nuts for a bunch of reasons. Let me collect my thoughts and then I'll explain.
And what my lawyer's done, because we were sold a beat in good faith and it wasn't actually cleared, he's reached out to Kujo and gone, look, I think you need to absorb this for selling this.
I mean, even when you disclose that a sample has been used in a track, you end up eating whatever portion of the underlying composition the sample owner's request. So if I sample, and I did, this is the reason why I use a lot of samples from loop makers, and that's why I make my own, because whenever I've sampled and gotten a placement with a major artist in the past, I lose out because, let's say, like in this case, the sample owners ask for 50%. Well, hey, I own 50% of the song as the beat maker, and they say, oh, well, you can just have his 50%. We don't split it. I don't take a 25% cut, and the artist doesn't take a 25% cut. The artist retains their 50%, and I lose my 50%. Is that fair? I don't think so. Is that standard? Yes, it's standard.
They've gone, no, we're not going to absorb that. And then it's escalated, and I think because my lawyer was being slightly slow with the responses, they also keep in mind, I don't know any of this is happening right now.
Why don't you know any of this? No one contacted you? Your lawyer's not contacting you and telling you that you're facing major legal trouble after one of your most popular songs has been removed from one of the most popular platforms on the internet? What? This is what I mean. There are holes in this story. It's blowing my mind right now.
To get my attention, they issue a copyright strike on the video, which affects my YouTube channel, by the way, and the video gets taken down, which is a bizarre way of dealing with things, I think, because it would have been a good idea to contact me, maybe, like anyone.
Communicate.
Anyone first, if this was getting so like blown up.
And certainly don't contact his lawyer, because his lawyer's not going to tell him that anything's happening, evidently, which is fucking weird.
Like, maybe the lawyers, maybe Kujo
not the lawyer,
actually reached out to me, the artist. Nobody did. So I found that a bit bizarre. Any fucking way. Then I read another comment that Kujo's posted, calling me a coward to pay the royalties he's owed, and I'm like, what royalty?
Well, he didn't call,
also,
to be fair, he didn't call you a coward. He said your actions were cowardly, which I'm not saying he was right in saying, but I feel like there's a lot of emotion injected into this story, and we're really only hearing Ren's side. So that's something to keep in mind. I'm not bashing Ren. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody here. I'm a third party. I wasn't involved. I'm just observing certain things about the way this story is framed, but I'm not taking sides.
In my head, the publishers are just paying him the money, and now the situation has to change until everyone agrees on it. But I wasn't even privy to that conversation about what a fair split should be yet.
Which is
so I was
weird,
like,
really weird.
I don't owe this guy money. Like, there's no master splits on the BeatStars contracts, by the way. So all money that comes in to Kujo, which should be paid to Kujo, right?
Let's be clear here. There isn't one BeatStars agreement that governs every producer who uses the platform. Individual producers can change their agreements to include master splits. Okay, so let's be clear there.
So comes from the publisher, which is nothing to do with me, by the way.
That's true.
I explained this so many times in this conversation, by the way, and he's adamant to say, probably short of like 50 times, pay me my money. I am nothing to do with his money, right? So it's a very bizarre thing to keep saying, but I try to explain.
That's why I say I think this is a situation of people who aren't experienced enough to handle this situation without getting emotions involved, just kind of fumbling their way through a situation that could easily be handled amicably, but it's clearly not, and it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse.
Explain that to him patiently, never really takes it in. Anyway, he calls me a coward on this comment, so I pull him up on that. This actually starts to then rub me up a little bit, so I'm like, I pull him up on that. It's saying like, the hell, like, cowardly. Anyway, I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt at this point. Anyway, despite this, I feel like he's probably just misinformed, so I still take his side on it, and I go on to reassure him he'll get paid his publishing money, because I want him to get paid his publishing money.
The fact that Ren is offering, in spite of Kujo not disclosing the sample, that is incredibly generous of him to offer to still split the underlying composition with Kujo, even though Kujo's non-disclosure of this sample use is the reason that the sample owners were able to come back and take away ownership of half of the song's underlying composition copyright. That's big. So I'm looking at Ren at this point in the conversation as someone who's really truly trying to resolve this in not just a fair way, but going above and beyond to give Kujo what I think most artists would never offer in a million years.
Doesn't affect me in any way, so like I was like, yeah, I'll chase it up for you. I let him know that I'm happy to split publishing if there's a bit of a grey area, and I'm kind of reassuring him. It's really important to remember this, by the way, guys, because some of the lies that are posted later make me out to be really unreasonable. So I'm like, yo, if there's some simple mistake, let's split the publishing. It's cool. I'm happy to do that. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, he's also willing to split the underlying composition. People use the term publishing to refer to both the writers and publisher shares, just to be clear. And, you know, in today's era, that probably isn't worth very much, just with the way streaming royalties are split. So I still think Ren is being incredibly fair here. It's just, I think maybe Kujo thinks there's more money that's coming his way from the underlying composition side of the royalty streams. And there's probably not. I guess I don't know, because they're not going to show statements. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I don't think there's much coming in.
So he comes back to me and lies more. He says, it's always up to the performer to clear the sample. It's not. It's up to the producer. But unless there's been a conversation.
Hold on. No. A lot of his fans, they're latching on to that. Let's dive into that. A lot of Ren's fans are saying the same thing. It's Kujo's responsibility to clear the sample before even selling the beat. Now, things get weird in the internet era, right? Because if I make a beat with an uncleared sample and I put it on my YouTube, I could get in trouble for putting it on YouTube because I'm infringing on someone's copyright, right? But traditionally in the music business, producers aren't clearing samples before they sell the beats that contain those uncleared samples. Kujo sells unlimited licenses for $49.99. I checked his website. In Ren's video, it says $99.99. This is the discrepancy. I'm not saying one person is lying. Maybe Kujo changed the prices of his beats. I don't know. Even if he's selling an unlimited license for $99, should he be clearing samples for tens of thousands of dollars? That wouldn't make sense, and it really doesn't make sense. And I've talked about this a million times. The reason why a producer wouldn't clear a sample, why Kujo wouldn't clear a sample in this case. I understand if you're a fan of Ren, you're a fan of Ren, you're not necessarily a music business person. So to you, it probably makes sense that Kujo should have cleared the sample, right? Of course, he can't sell the beat without the sample. Well, unfortunately, Ren is ultimately the one publishing the song under his name, under his label, under his distributor, with his lyrics. The sample owner has to be okay with all of this. So if Kujo had spent thousands of dollars clearing the sample for his beat, The beat is cleared. At this point, the lyrics, the song, everything that Ren adds to the beat is not cleared because it doesn't exist yet. So the sample owners couldn't clear Ren's lyrics. This is the reason why Kanye West is getting sample clearance denied, because this happened recently with Donna Summer's estate. They denied a sample clearance request from Kanye West because they don't align with some of Kanye West's opinions, and so they don't want to work with him. This could have been the case with Ren. So there's no point in Kujo Beats clearing the sample for his beat. The song has to be cleared by the sample owners. Don't shoot the messengers. I know the fans of Ren are passionate. I'm just telling you how things are. And I'll show you articles, because that's part of my New Year's resolution, to back up everything I say. Because there's this idea, this narrative that sampling is illegal, or that you can't sell a beat that contains an uncleared sample in it legally. How the traditional music business works, as I said, is that I would send this is how I've gotten a lot of major placements. I send the beat to the artist with the uncleared sample in it. The artist records to it. Then I tell them that there's a sample in it. I give them all that information. It sounds like Kujo did not do this, and that's his fault. But I don't have the resources as a producer to clear that sample. The record label does, so they clear the sample and then they release it. I still get paid for the beat. And this system is honestly so loose that a lot of the times clearances aren't even happening before songs are released. You know, it's not good, but like at the level of Travis Scott, this is happening. And let's talk about a recent case that really explains what I'm telling you. So Nicki Minaj versus Tracy Chapman. Nicki used a beat that contained a Tracy Chapman sample, right? It wasn't cleared yet. Nicki Minaj had to record the song in order to clear it first. So Tracy Chapman heard the song. She did not clear it. She did not approve. So Nicki Minaj could not release the song. Okay, fine. So the song is just sitting. It's never going to see the light of day. Where Nicki messed up is she sent it to Funkmaster Flex to leak. So she leaked it. And that's why Tracy Chapman took legal action. Ultimately, Nicki Minaj agreed to pay Chapman $450,000 to close the case, blah, blah, blah. But this part is really important. And this is a ruling made by the U.S. District Court judge. Nicki Minaj was in her rights to have created the song with the uncleared sample in the studio before receiving clearance. So this idea that it's illegal for a producer to sell anyone, Nicki Minaj, Ren, whoever, a beat with an uncleared sample in it is not exactly true, at least not according to this U.S. District Court judge. Because now we live in an era where you can sell beats online without a label, without those label resources. And then that's when things get complicated, because you have a producer and you have a rapper who aren't communicating. Kujo was dead wrong not telling Ren. We haven't heard from Kujo, but if Kujo did not tell Ren that there was a sample in that track, Kujo's dead wrong. When I heard the track, because it's still out there, I immediately recognized that sample because it's been used so many times. I feel like Ren is just really like in the dark with a lot of things here. I'm not putting this on him, but I mean this is Ren's livelihood and his passion. So and as he said, he's investing thousands into the music video, etc. Why not verify with Kujo that there are no samples in it? Here's a question for both Kujo and Ren. Why didn't you just fix the beat and like remove that sample? I honestly, I've heard samples similar to that Bulgarian choir sample in Contact expansions. Now, if I were in this situation where I didn't say that there was a sample in a beat that contained a sample and it kind of messed things up, would I be asking for more money, which is apparently what Kujo's doing? No, absolutely not. I would just be humbly keeping my mouth shut, letting everything play out, and then just kind of taking what comes. And certainly I would be appreciative of Ren for still giving me a post-sample clearance split on the underlying composition. And I would also try to maximize the attention of this situation to bring more awareness to my brand, maybe sell more beats, develop more of a relationship with the artist. But that's assuming I feel good about the interactions I'm having with the artist. Ultimately, this dispute is between Ren and Kujo. They both made it public. Ren has infinitely more fans and more influence over the court of public opinion's decisions here. And so he's certainly winning that battle. And as I showed you at the beginning, Ren's fans are attacking Kujo relentlessly, which I think is vulgar and does not reflect well on Ren at all. Honestly, I think that abuse is probably making Kujo act like more of a jerk throughout this situation. The more upset they get and the more they act on that emotion, the further they get from a resolution between the two of them, which is really unfortunate.
Actually, it's me making the concessions here because he sold a stolen sample, and I'm like, you know what, you can still have some publishing split, right? So like, I'm actually being the one that's being quite reasonable here.
I agree with this, honestly, I do.
He's flipped on his head like, we'll be good to you, you know, because I've done nothing wrong in this situation. Anyway, I was like, and then he says, I was under the impression you would have received a warning. I had no idea that the video would be completely taken down. Another lie, as you'll see soon. He and his lawyer agreed to take record sales. You're talking money for, you know, like 15% isn't outrageous, right? What's outrageous in all of that when they haven't put any effort into promoting the song? He's made a beat and he's stolen part of the beat, and he wants 15% of everything the song has ever made.
So I fast forwarded. So at this point, now the lawyers are fighting with one another, and Ren is, sorry, not Ren, Kujo is trying to renegotiate the agreement and get more, because I guess he's I mean, look, they're upset at each other now. Emotions are involved. Who knows what the lawyers are telling their respective clients? I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, and we're never probably going to know. But now Kujo is asking for more and asking for a flat 15% of every income stream that's coming through off this song.
Plus the £3,000 advance.
Oh, and
out
more
of
money.
principle,
More money.
I wasn't going to give him that. But because like, may have been slightly open to negotiations if they hadn't used the song as leverage and actually treated me like a decent person. I hadn't put like lies about the situation. But nah, out of principle, I wasn't going to agree to that. And also to clarify, when I've been in rooms with producers and we've made a song from scratch, I've done a lot of like 50-50 splits, or I've done like 25-75, or with other collaborated artists, we just agree on a split that's like 50-50, 25. So, you know, like 15% isn't outrageous, right? What's outrageous is that they already sold it with an unlimited license right from the get-go. So you go into BeatStars thinking, I'm buying an unlimited license for this much money, right? And I was broke at the time when I bought that beat.
I thought you said you invested thousands into the track, but you were broke at the time. I'm just catching little inconsistencies here.
It was kind of unfair because say you buy a painting off somebody for £10, and then the price of it rises exponentially because maybe the painter dies or something, or he becomes really popular. You don't then just go back to the person you sold it to and go, oh, that painting's worth like 20 times more now, give me a bit more money for it, because the transaction's been done.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't have done that, even in spite of the fact that Ren does concede that he was guilty of breaching the contract by accident.
I actually specifically requested Content ID was turned off, and my YouTube guide did turn it off. There has been something to do with the distribution where somewhere along the line, even after I specifically requested this, it may have gotten turned on at some point, right?
He accidentally breached contract by running the song through a Content ID system, and then also by, you know, the publishing and writer share not being properly registered, this and that. But his point was also that Kujo Beats breached the contract by not disclosing that there was an uncleared sample in it. So I think there's blame to go all around.
I didn't want this guy to get ruined. I didn't want him to get abused about it. I just wanted to get the song back. That was the thing. So like, I sent him a message. I'm like, dude, look, I thought of the thing. Because I am a man of principle, I didn't want to bend to threats and stuff about the song being claimed 100%. So I'm like, I've got a much better idea. Let's make a song. We'll split it 50-50 down the middle. Master, publishing, everything. A song from scratch. Then if we do that way, it'll be like a fuck you to the industry, yeah? You and me on a track. You'll make way more money this way because it's 50-50. You'll also get my fan base on your side. It's going to be a great thing. Because I'm always like, I want to look forward. I don't want to look back.
I personally would have probably said yes to that. But also, I think this is just probably a classic case of hurt people hurting people. So it sounds like Kujo Beats has a lot of trauma. Now, I'm going to say this. It sounds like both of them have a lot of trauma with the music business. Our trauma is not our fault, but it's our responsibility. That means don't walk into a brand new business negotiation and act in a way that's informed by past trauma. So if Kujo's been fucked over in the past, don't take that out on Ren. If Ren's been fucked over in the past, don't take that out on Kujo. And I'm talking specifically to producers right now because that's probably who's watching this. Stop that shit. I've been in that situation before where I've let My past traumas of getting fucked over in the music business by rappers make me act in a way that's really reactive and not at all thoughtful or strategic. Even when I was in the right and I just acted based on my knee-jerk reaction to something that triggered me, and I reacted from a place of emotion rather than strategy, I lost in the long run as a result. So don't do that, and if you do it, it's a lesson learned, all right? But I'm telling you, don't do it. I don't want to watch the whole video because it's so long. I really do want to focus on the sample clearance element. I just have a lot of questions. I think there is a lot missing here, and there were a lot of mistakes made by different people involved, not just Ren and Kujo. I don't want producers to think that just because a song's doing well after they already sold a lease to a beat, especially an unlimited lease, that they can just go back and say, all right, I see the song's doing well, I want more money. Is that what Kujo's doing? Well, maybe. If there was a breach of contract on Ren's side, which he kind of admits that there was, even though it was an accident, then maybe Kujo has a valid point. Ren's point is that Kujo breached the contract from the beginning by not disclosing the uncleared sample. Maybe that's a point. I don't know, because I don't know. You know, I looked at Kujo's contracts. It looks like that language has been removed. I don't know if Ren is looking at his original unlimited license agreement with Kujo, or if he's just looking at the BeatStars default license. These are all questions I have, and I'd like to ask them these questions directly, but I don't know either of them. But this wasn't the case here. It wasn't a matter of just Kujo wanting money because the song is doing well. Look, as producers, if we don't disclose an uncleared sample, even if we just use an uncleared sample, this can cause problems. If we use an uncleared sample and we tell the artist that we used an uncleared sample, we will probably still lose equity in the song. Unfortunately for producers, that's how the music business typically works. And this is the reason Splice exists. This is the reason people like me make loops and samples, to avoid these problems with traditional sampling. Now, I have a really big question for Kujo, right? Because if his major beef here was that he wasn't getting paid his money from his publishing and writer's share on the underlying composition split, so performance royalties, mechanical royalties, etc. Why didn't he just create a conflict with PRS? So here's what happens, and this happens. The PRS is the PRO, Performance Rights Organization in the UK, but the same thing exists in the United States. BMI and ASCAP do the same thing. Conflict is what happens when the same song has more than one registration with conflicting data. So, and evidently this is because both Ren and Kujo say this is the case. The song Sickboi was registered incorrectly. So Kujo wasn't getting his proper splits. So if the splits weren't registered correctly on Ren's side, Kujo could have just registered the song on his side with the proper splits, and because now there are two songs, the exact same song registered with different splits, what happens here is that you create a conflict. All the royalties are frozen by PRS because they're the one collecting and paying out these royalties. They're frozen by PRS, and as a result, both sides have to now negotiate in order to unfreeze that money and start getting paid. If they don't resolve it, the money just stays frozen. So now there's an incentive for them to come to an agreement. Why did Kujo not just do that? Why didn't a lawyer just advise him to do that? Or why didn't he look that up or call PRS and figure that out? I don't know. I feel like that would have been a much better idea than getting the song taken down. I have some serious questions for Ren. I hope he considers these. What Ren says in the video is that he was in Canada while all this was going down, and when he gets back home, he has to contact his lawyer to figure out what's going on. But it seems like for weeks, maybe months, not only has the lawyer been having conversations with Kujo, but he's also been having conversations with the owner of the Bulgarian choir sample, because the Bulgarian choir sample folks are contacting Ren's lawyer to clear this sample, to get the sample cleared. Why was your lawyer hiding that from you? Why didn't your lawyer contact you immediately and say, hey, here's what's going on, I need to inform you? And why are your fans not going on a witch hunt after your lawyer? Why aren't you making a diss track against your lawyer? Also, number two, this blew my mind too. The owners of the sample are only asking you for 50% of the underlying composition. Let's round of applause to them, because that's incredibly fair. They didn't ask for 75%. They didn't ask for 100%. They didn't say, you know what, we're taking your song down because you never cleared that sample. They said, you know what, you used the sample, you didn't get clearance. We just want 50% of the underlying composition. Don't write a diss track about Kujo. Write the opposite of a diss track about the Bulgarian choir sample owners. That's amazing. I feel like that should have been emphasized more. That's positive. Everything else about this situation is so negative. So I'm sure this isn't the end of the conversation. I'm on the outside looking in. These are some things I noticed about this situation, and I hope that those of us who see this unfolding and see how frustrating it is for everyone involved can learn to just be a little calmer, a little more reasonable, to step back from the emotion involved in music and the emotion involved in the conflicts related to the music business, and hopefully try to resolve these situations as adults. And I think producers can learn a lot from this, because a lot of us don't know the business, and I'm always saying learn the business, and producers are like, I don't want to learn the business, fuck the business, I want to learn chord progressions. You can learn both. Do you want to end up in this situation? Maybe you do. Maybe that's what it's going to take for a lot of you to just get smart and start actually understanding how to navigate the music business and not find yourself in the middle of some bullshit like this. Hey, if more information comes out, I hope it does. I hope someone gets to have a conversation with either Ren or Kujo. I hope a conversation gets to be had with both of them, where someone can ask very direct questions about this and fill in some of the gaps, because I still can't get over the fact that the lawyer didn't communicate any of this to his client. That part doesn't make sense. I don't know. Shit is crazy. Be safe out there. Wishing you much success. Thank you for watching. Peace.